Right, now the knowledge is on the battle hoax, and this is an extension of the war is hoax idea, right? Because as we know, war's a hoax, right? And this seems to be like a desperate thing by the shills to claw back the ideas and all that, right? So explore deeper into it, and we're going to the sort of battle hoax, right? So as we see, right, we see pictures of royal family people and all that, right? And they're all wearing like the medals and that, right? So they stand there with the medals on the sort of clothing and that, right? And of course, you know, there's been the war, there's been the conflict. So we'll take the example of, say, for example, Harry and the Prince of York, no, the Duke of York, and were supposedly serving in the war fields and all this, right? And then they sort of stand adorned in all the medals and all that, right? So obviously something a bit dodgy going on, right? And back in my day, right, it was the SAS. Like when I was a youngster, and that the TV thing was the SAS. They done the Iran embassy siege, right, which we now know is a total hoax. I think Matrix Breakout done a couple of videos on it. A load of people have done videos on that here. It was just a total hoax, and that the Iran embassy siege and all that. The SAS, right? And of course, around about this time, they were putting out an SAS meme and that. You had the Lewis Collins film and that about the SAS and all that. You see what I mean? So it was like they're putting out this SAS meme, right? So you update it, right? Update it to today, and they're reintroducing the SAS thing through these like TV shows, right? But nowadays the version of the SAS is even more unbelievable than what it was in. It's like these little short arm blokes and that with FTM beards and that, you know what I mean? It's like ridiculous. They're appearing on This Morning with Phil and Phil and whatever and that. Talking about the SAS stop and all this, see what I mean? It's like so domesticated eunuch stuff and that, right? SAS. And which is 7, of course, codes to a 7. 313, right? And and of course, like we've got off the continue the overall war hoax idea, right? With there was one of the blokes that was in the Iran embassy siege. He had like mutton chop sideburns and a mustache, handlebar mustache or something. I forget the bloke's name and that, right? It was like something like Lofty or something like that, right? And he was meant to be one of the blokes who stormed the embassy siege, right? And then they had his son in this narrative and that. They had his son was killed serving in Iraq or Afghanistan or whatever, see? To continue this hoax script, right? Of course, like the whole idea of the SAS round about this 80s time, if you remember back this 80s time, they had a load of stuff which all comes together of the wearing of gas masks and balaclava hoods and that, right? Because I remember when I was a kid, I had an Action Man figure out, which was the SAS trooper, right? And like, my favourite, you know what I mean, at the time and that. And he had the full gear, the sort of the hood and the balaclava and the gas mask and all that, right? And they introduced the nuclear films, wind scale, that's it, wind scale. The supposed nuclear accident, right, where and all the film and all the blokes are walking around in basically the same appearance and that. The gas masks and the hoods and that, see what I mean? Create this fear thing. And also, right, at the same time, they had like these Italian zombie films and that. If you remember, these Italian horror films, where it was basically again the same thing, the balaclavas and the hoods, the toxic waste suits and the gas masks and all that. So it was like a full-on fear sort of meme appearing at that time, right? All linked together. And if you go back further in the history, right, you've got the Battle of Balaclava, right? So obviously the Battle of Balaclava, we know what a balaclava is, right? And again, you got the IRA stuff, the IRA memes and that, and all the photos of them wearing the balaclavas and that. See what I mean? So like the balaclava's a mask, like mask on type idea, see? Yeah. And then you got Charge of the Light Brigade, right? So obviously, Charge of the Light Brigade, we can see what that is. So we see all these ideas historical, modern day, present day, stuff like that all ties together as part of the war hoax. So, you know, yeah, and like I say, right, then you have your characters who are portrayed, your royal characters, like for example the Iron Duke. You know, we know what the iron is and not the FE Duke. in all the pictures, see, wearing these, you know, wearing the medals and the attire and all this, see what I mean? So what do we take from this, see what I mean? That sort of all this, like, supposed power that they've got and all this was hard won and glorious battles and, you know, the brave heroes and all these ideas that they bring about. You know, like the movie Waterloo, you know, which is about the Iron Duke. Wellington, is it? The Iron Duke, saying he's like this brave character. Come on, lads, into battle, boys, and all this. Like, you know what I mean? It's like these ridiculous ideas and that. And we see exactly the same now. See, you got your royal family blokes and that lined up, wearing all of, you know, adorned with medals and everything like that. See what I mean? But has there been any battles? Has there been any earning of these sort of things? You know, of course not. See what I mean? Because war is a hoax. It's just a hoax idea where they've, you know, it's all channeled into this tea program. See, and a big hoax idea. So you still got shills right up to now coming on and trying to defend the war idea and are putting in different, you know, different spins on it and all that. See, but no, war is a hoax, and this sort of stuff proves it. You know what I mean? Proves it. So all links together like as just one hoax, historical, present day, modern. See what I mean? So you've come from the battlefields of, like, you know, all these famous battles in the 16th century and all that, right? With these like ridiculous, like, coded names and that, right? Up to the point now where you've got these supposed hard men SAS soldiers sitting having a cup of tea with Philip Schofield on the sort of women's television or whatever in the morning and all that. You see what I mean? Ridiculous.
Ripping and tearing up into your flesh, feeling the needle from hell. Stacked in the chair over your head, sniffing your cyanide smell. Struggle, it's struggle, there's nowhere to turn. Bowing your head for a kill. To see your life as it slips by, and get on the sun's wheel.
At 4:30 in the afternoon, on the 10th of October 1957, a fire was discovered in the core of Reactor 1 at Windscale. It was Britain's worst nuclear disaster.
I've heard of Dante's Inferno. Well, it couldn't have been any worse than what I saw there. Well, you couldn't stare at it. You just had to turn away.
It made one numb, really. It was so horrifying that one just went numb. Then there was so much to do that one didn't have time to get really agitated about it.
32 years after the fire, the damaged Windscale reactor at Sellafield is still radioactive. The Windscale fire consumed 8 tons of uranium. It took 140 men 30 hours and over 2 million gallons of water to cool the burning core. Until Chernobyl, it was the world's worst reactor accident. But the fire, terrible as it was, had one hidden benefit. It closed the 2 early Windscale reactors forever. Tonight,